Well, the Outsiders pre-release was just this past weekend, and I went to my very first one. I'd never been to a pre-release before for Flesh and Blood, and I'm very happy to say that I certainly did not feel like an outsider. Welcome on in, Dragon Folk. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I know I am. My name is Alex, and you probably are not subscribed to the channel. Turns out there's only 14.2% of you subscribers who are watching my content. So please, if you have not already subscribed, I would certainly appreciate it a lot. It certainly helps the channel out. We love to grow here as a fantastic community, and I love involving everybody in fantastic discussion about card games, whether it be the market or gameplay, or deck building, or anything of the sort. So make sure to subscribe, please. It certainly helps out the channel. Anyway, let's get on over to Outsiders. So I went to my very first pre-release this last weekend, and it was very, very interesting to me. I'd never been to a limited event for Flesh and Blood ever. I started my Flesh and Blood journey technically back when Uprising first came out. Uprising is a draftable set, but I did not end up drafting any of it. I didn't even know where to play the game when I was opening those boxes of Uprising way back in the day. But when Dynasty came out, I started to actually get into it. I made myself a deck. I bought a Blitz deck. I kind of upgraded it as I could. And then I moved forward, and, well, here we are now, right? This is another episode of my journey through Flesh and Blood as a player who knew nothing about the game other than it was a TCG, and now getting more and more into the competitive scene, the content creation scene of it. I started from nothing, and now here I am as an amazing content creator for an amazing game that is Flesh and Blood. So again, Outsiders came out this last weekend as a pre-release. The set is not out until this weekend, so don't go about trying to buy any new cards or anything or expect them at your door. You're probably not going to get them. But this limited set actually had something that the other previous limited sets did not, right? And I think that is something that changed the dynamic of this. I have heard stories about Monarch Limited and Uprising Limited and Tales of Aria Limited and all those things, and how it was just so very one-sided in a way. And while the results of a lot of people I've seen on Twitter seem to also say that it was fairly one-sided, I think that the idea that there were 6 different heroes that you could potentially draft or do any sealed stuff with is awesome. I think it's really, really cool that you have 6 different ways to play in your sealed pool any way you can, right? So with the 6 heroes that are in Outsiders, there's Arachne, there's Azuri, those are the 2 assassins. You have Riptide and Azalea, the 2 rangers, and you have Benji and Katsu. Those are the 2 ninjas. They all play somewhat differently in a way, and overall, it's just a fun way to mix around stuff. For those of you who have not played in a sealed format like just this pre-release or any other of the pre-releases, a sealed format is you have 6 packs, and you open up those 6 packs, and you essentially make a deck with what you have. The cool thing is, though, is that unlike in draft, where you're pretty much stuck to one hero, like the hero that you end up drafting, in sealed, you can change heroes whenever you're done with the match. So if you wanted to play Arachne round 1 to see how your pool worked, and then you found out that your pool may have worked better with Azuri, then you can just switch your hero and switch out some cards, and you're fine. That was something that, unfortunately, I did not take advantage of. I did actually build Azuri in my sealed pool for my pre-release, and while I didn't pull a lot of very, very amazing things, I believe I only pulled 1 Majestic, and it was down and dirty. Probably I would say the least useful Majestic out of all of the Majestics in the set for the sealed pool. I did, in fact, get a lot of death touches. And these death touches are really, really good to swap out with Azuri's ability because you get to give, not only do they come in for like 6 or 5 if you have a yellow or the red, but they also give any of these, diseases, whether it be frailty or inertia or blood rot pox. It'll give that if they deal damage. So, with there not being a whole ton of defense reactions, other than if you get lucky and you pull a lot, most people are not going to be running a lot of those defense reactions except for Riptide. Riptide's got a lot of special reactions that he himself would use, but there are some assassin ranger, reactions that also work out too. So I also ran a couple traps in mine because they were assassin ranger. So I played assassin. I had a little bit of this extra stuff in there. It worked out in the end. But I only went 1 and 3. Unfortunately, that was probably due to my own fault. Again, I didn't take advantage of the swapping heroes thing. So because of that, I felt like I maybe had a deck list somewhere else, but I just didn't have the thought process to kind of bring it together. I figured I could just make one deck and use that deck all throughout. But instead, I built Azuri, but there were a lot more blues than there were reds. So I ended up relying a bit on Spider's Bites and some small little damage here and there. I will say, though, I wish that I played Benji. I did get 2 red looking for scrap, or looking for a scrap, which is probably one of the coolest limited cards in this set, especially going into Benji, right? Being able to, banish a blue card so that you can go ahead and come in for, really, it's not supposed to be a blue, it's a 1-cost card, and most of the ninja attacks at blue are at 1 attack. So you just banish any one of those cards from your graveyard, and this gets +1 and go again. That's pretty huge. 5 go again for 1 is, it's a big deal considering. So I definitely feel like I could have built a better Benji deck, but unfortunately, I didn't commit to it. I kind of figured Azuri was just going to be the better one, and I ended up losing out on that. But that's not to say that Azuri hasn't been doing good all throughout pre-release. Azuri and Arachne both of the assassins, have been dominating pre-releases left and right. Some people have had success with Riptide or with Benji or with Azalea, but most of the wins seem to be strictly from the assassin side of things. And I think that's just because a lot of these assassin cards, you have a better pool at the end of the day. Assassin and Ninja share the same cards in like the hybrid class stuff, and Assassin Ranger share the same cards in hybrid. So instead of choosing those 2 subclasses essentially in there, you can just utilize them both in one class being Assassin. So Assassin theoretically gets more cards per pack than any other of the heroes, even though I know they're based around classes and so on and so forth. It's not like it's like made in Assassin's favor, but Assassin just gets the better pick of the cards. And I think that's truly why Assassin just does better in this limited format. But I'm curious to see what draft does. I think sometime next week we're supposed to be doing another draft, or a draft, I should say, since we just did the sealed stuff for this time around. And I'd be really interested to see what kind of real craziness comes out of draft, right? Just being able to take the cards from another person's pack that you might assume somebody else is building. That's kind of neat. It's kind of cool stuff. So again, I'm curious to see. I did see that the ninja pool was a little bit low. Ranger, I had a little bit of stuff for Ranger, so I could have built something like Riptide, but ninja stuff was really, really low to the ground. I mean, a lot of the combo lines that exist in Ninja, specifically like for a Katsu build, a lot of the combo lines start with a head jab and twin twisters. And I've gotten 1 head jab out of the 6 packs. So it was a blue. So it was very, very difficult for me to commit to a ninja without that many of these starter combo pieces. But again, there's several things that you can do with all that. I still think I probably could have played Benji a little bit better, but maybe we'll just hold that off for next time if we get any of these cool cards and I don't feel comfortable playing something like Azuri with not a lot of reds. But more importantly, what I wanted to talk about today is the fact that I have been so immersed in Flesh and Blood recently. And Flesh and Blood has taken me in with open arms. Every LGS I've ever been to has been the kindest I've ever been welcomed into a community. I've never had a bad time in an LGS. Everybody at an LGS, all the players have all been super, super kind and welcoming. And again, this is these are just a diary from somebody who was not a Flesh and Blood player, a year ago even, right? Because Dynasty came out in November, I want to say. So I wasn't even playing Flesh and Blood before November of last year. It hasn't even been 6 months of me playing Flesh and Blood. And I have felt more comfortable playing with everybody. And I felt more on a level playing field with everyone. Everybody wants to teach everyone else, regardless of what it might be. There's a lot of discussion and testing and people who just want other people to be better players. And I think that's so, so cool, especially at something like this, right? I've changed a lot of the stuff here on the channel to the point where we're talking a lot more about Commoner and soon to be coming Clash. Clash is already a format that is established but not recognized by LSS. So Clash is something that I want to talk about in the future. Also, I'm also now officially building my very first Blitz deck. So that's pretty cool too. My Blitz deck is going to be Prism because everybody says they loved Prism. I thought Prism was super, super cool. And I have always wanted to play her when I saw her, but I obviously can't in Classic Constructed. I can in something like Commoner, but playing her in Commoner is a lot different than playing her in something like Blitz. So I am actually going to utilize that ability to build myself a Blitz deck, so I have something there in case I want to jam a game of Blitz with somebody. But yeah, overall, I guess this is just a big diary for me to say that I truly am thankful for the Flesh and Blood community. They've done nothing but good for me. Everybody who I've met on Twitter, in the comments down below, everybody who's talked to me through any social media, and honestly, this community's just grown larger and larger over time. And it really is mind-blowing to me that so many people care so much about the game that they love, right? I haven't seen this much passion in a little while. Talking about stuff like Magic the Gathering, which is a game that I still enjoy playing a lot, I do very much so believe that I'm losing touch with Magic. And I feel like the move I want to make forward, especially for something like this channel, is to start talking about Flesh and Blood a lot more than Magic the Gathering. I'm sure you've all seen there's been more Flesh and Blood content here than there has been Magic. And for those of you who enjoy Magic the Gathering, just know I don't hate your game. I don't hate any of you. I may at one point continue talking about Magic the Gathering, such as, with Commoner being a thing for Flesh and Blood. I want to talk about Pauper and Pauper Commander for Magic the Gathering. But I'm just happy that I have a fantastic community here who is genuine and kind and wanting to be a part of one another's group and really just drive home the concept that these games that we play bring us together. It's not just a hobby where we sit down in our basement and we just collect things and we don't talk to any other people. Even collectors make collector friends and everybody talks amongst one another. So, for the sake of that being the case, I think that I am now officially going to be opening my Discord server up to everyone. So please make sure to check the description down below to check that out, see what things are like over there. I do hope to have some table space open for people so that we can jam some games online. I may even make some special requests for patrons or channel members if you guys wanted to do some games with myself. I know I don't often get times to jam games over webcam, and I think this would be a fantastic opportunity to connect with my community and really enjoy the game that I love so much, So, again, Outsiders, fantastic. I definitely suggest that if you have not picked up a box, you should pick up a box for yourself to draft or play sealed with your friends. It's a fantastic time. Most LGS have a limited night in which you can play limited, whether that be draft or sealed. So I suggest going to check that out. It's also a fantastic way to learn the cards and learn about the game if you're a brand new player too. So it's just an amazing thing. Again, full circle, I like Flesh and Blood a lot. And I want to continue to spread that message to all of you that Flesh and Blood is something that is just really near and dear to me. And I hope to continue providing amazing content for all of you, especially for the casual players like Commoner and Clash players. But I do also still want to talk about Classic Constructed, a format that I very much so enjoy. And as I move into Blitz, I'll go ahead and give you guys an update about what Blitz is like as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate that support. Again, if you have not subscribed already, please make sure to do so. It really helps the channel a lot, and it's completely free. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the Outsiders pre-release. Did any of you go to the Outsiders pre-release? Is there a card you want from Outsiders that you think would be really cool in your Blitz or Classic Constructed deck or your Commoner deck? And make sure to stay tuned for more awesome Commoner builds that I hope to provide to all of you. I do have a couple working for some of the new heroes, such as Riptide and Arachne. So I already have the Azuri one out. You can go ahead and check that out up there. I don't have any gameplay for her yet, but I will plan to get some out sometime soon. I want to get a template down for these deck techs to where they're like 30 minutes long, no more than that. And they provide gameplay as well as a detailed instruction of how the deck works. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And as always, thank you for being a part of this fantastic community. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon. Nerd out.